If you've applied to NHS jobs over and over again without even getting shortlisted or getting an interview, this video is something someone had explained to me before I sent out my own NHS applications. Because the truth is, it's rarely about your qualifications or your experience not being good enough. However, it's usually about few specific, very fixable things that no one really talks about. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shreya and I'm a GP trainee working in the NHS. So I came here as an IMG from India, did my PLAB exam and MSRA and got into GP training. So I've actually been on both sides. I've actually applied for jobs where I didn't even get shortlisted, and now that I've been in the NHS for a good few years, I've actually sat and watched what gets filtered out and what gets shortlisted. So in today's video, I want to walk you through the whole process to understand what gets filtered out and what you can change today to make sure that you get shortlisted. So the first and honestly the biggest mistake is not understanding the language given in the person specification. So every NHS job that you'll be applying for will have a separate document known as person specification, where they will mention their essential criteria, their desired criteria, and what exactly they are looking for in the applicant. So what a lot of IMGs do who are coming from different systems, they write their experience in their own words or how they would actually naturally talk about it. But you have to understand that that is not how NHS shortlisting work, especially in larger trust where there are a lot of applicants who have applied. They have to filter people out. So if your language doesn't actually mirror what they are looking for in the person specification, you will not be shortlisted. Even if you mention everything in a paragraph down below, you will not be shortlisted if you're not following the language in the person specification document. Alright, so let me just give you an example. So if in that specific section of your application, you're writing about your clinical audits or publications or research that you've done that you're naturally very proud of. However, if in their document, person specification document, they've mentioned that they're looking for clinical experience or specific exams like MRCP part 1 or 2 or XYZ, and your application starts with clinical audits and research, you will not get shortlisted. So what you need to do is mirror their language in person specification line by line. So you have to address each and every point as they have mentioned in their document, just to make sure and make their life easier as well and to get shortlisted. So it's a very small change in your wording that you need to do while applying your application, and that will make a huge difference in getting shortlisted. So the second reason, and this one is actually more common in IMGs than you would realize, is that the CV structure. So specific applications like track jobs actually follow their own online application system, so that's different. But if you're trying to email a specific trust and you're trying to send your CV over, you have to keep in mind that you have to follow a specific structure which doesn't come naturally to us as an IMG, or it was actually very different back home compared to what it is in the NHS. So just think about it in a way that you have to make someone else's life easier to go through your CV. So if someone is trying to skim through your application in about 30 seconds, you have to highlight those points or make it easier for them to be able to see what they are looking for within, I would say, 30 seconds. So start with your competencies and do not try to go chronologically. So make sure that your GMC number, your registration status, everything is clearly visible. If you need a visa or not, all of these details are mentioned and highlighted. So the third reason is references and portfolio evidence. So late references, mismatch employment dates, or even lack of evidence for the competencies that they're looking for are some of the most common reasons why a lot of applications get rejected. So you have to understand, even when you're mentioning in your application that you have competencies competencies in XYZ things, you have to attach a proof of that. So a lot of people forget about that completely, and that is one of the reasons that there's no evidence, so they will not get shortlisted. The other thing is about references. So you will have to have at least 3 references to who will be contacted before you actually get a job. So even before you mention those 3 references, make sure that their details are correct, their email addresses are correct, and they are contactable via email at least. And once you mention their details, make sure to make them inform and let them know that you have given their email or details to be contacted. So because I remember I almost missed a deadline because I didn't contact my consultant early enough, and of course the deadline was approaching. That's when I realized that my consultant is actually on annual leaves, so which was not ideal situation. So make sure that your referees are contactable and you always attach evidence for the competencies. So to bring this all together, if you're someone applying for NHS jobs right now, this is what I would say. The first would be go through the person specifications document line by line and mirror your answers accordingly. The next would be structure your CV according to competencies and make sure your registration details are clearly visible and mentioned at the very top. The next would be start chasing your references at least 2 weeks in advance and not the day before. Last but not the least would be start gathering evidence for your portfolio based competencies, and in general if there are any other evidences, please start chasing and gathering them even before you apply for the applications. And please do understand that these are very small, not so glamorous changes, but they do make a disproportionate difference in getting shortlisted. Alright, so as an IMG, I completely understand that the NHS application system feels like a black box where you just are waiting to get shortlisted and you sort of don't understand what's getting filtered out and what's not. However, once you understand these small details that I've mentioned in today's video, you will feel a lot better and relatable, I promise. So this is it for today's video. If you've got any specific questions for me, please feel free to drop them down in the comment section, and I would love to hear your suggestions or your questions because I read every single one of the comment. So if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel, and I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.